And also for the ones that are coming for the first time, welcome and thank you so much for taking your time and also being part of this great journey that we're having in Latin America in this project called Evolutionary Conscience of Latin America throughout this year. First of all, I would like to thank also and appreciate Robert Stiles, who is already here being part, or also Paul Atkins, who is part of this team of Pro Social World, and Marcelo, who is supporting and giving this chance with us. And after, we're gonna have a chance to get to know a little bit more about with Soledad and Thor, who's also from Inside Chair, and they're here today with us to tell us and explain a little bit more about the participatory video. So welcoming everyone. To start this program today, actually, I'm gonna have a little switch, Anna. So I'm gonna ask you to bring the video about the Lara. Lara's not here yet, but I think she's gonna come. As we had, and we're gonna have this time of our work talking about video. One of our partners from Collabso from Brazil, she's coming for the meeting. She's a little late because she had a little thing of another meeting. But at the same time, she's been recording and also bringing a little bit of the content and the wisdom of a couple of communities from our country. And just as we had in our last meeting, just to start bringing this knowledge about not just ancestors, but also the prayers that they have. We're gonna have 2 minutes just to having this welcoming time together with this community tonight, this morning. I'm not sure. Sometimes we have to mix all this. But to have this little sharing, enhancing the message of this tribe, which is actually telling and calling us to pay attention, the power and the importance of the water. So Ana, could you please share with us a little bit of the video?
Essa água, ela é fonte de vida. Ela tem o poder também de curar. O espírito dela também nos ajuda, ela nos cura. É muito forte. Na hunu wakamu, na hunu wakamu, hunu wakanamaki, hunu wakanamaki, bagachu no paruwai, bagachu no paruwai, paruwai kirimu, ha yo 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 yo. Ha yo 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 yo. Na hunu wakamu, hunu wakanamaki, bagachu no paruwai, paruwai kirimu. Ha yo 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 yo. Ha yo 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 yo. Na hunu wakamu, hunu wakanamaki, bagachu no paruwai, paruwai kirimu. Ha yo 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 yo. Ha yo 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 yo. Oh, show. Ana Yoshimô. Aí eu fiz esse rezo também com muito amor, também porque a água é fonte de vida. Porque sem a água ninguém vive. Sem a água a terra não vive, né? Sem a água a floresta não vive. Sem a água os pássaros não vivem. E sem a água os peixes também não vivem, né? Então precisamos deixar um rio desse livre, cheio de caça, cheio, né, na beira cheio de frutas, cheio de florestas, também no rio cheio de peixe, e com a água limpa, para todo mundo tomar banho, sentir à vontade, né? Para as crianças, também os amigos, os visitantes. Então é muito importante. E também traz muita importância, porque através do rio também nós vamos fazendo as viagens no rio até chegar a Tarauacá, né? E também já tem vindo muitos visitantes, amigos, parceiros também, irmãos de outros países também, viajando pelo rio, chegar até a minha aldeia. Então, para mim, eu estou muito feliz por isso, poder estar fazendo esse rezo aqui. Tchau, tchau.
Thank you so much for, Lara didn't come yet, but it was some of the words and messages to start our day today with the remember with the memory and connection of what is important in so many of the wisdoms that we have connected and the power of the images and stories that we can gather. I would like to invite everyone at this moment to start. Actually, we have our check-in ritual to start. And then for the first of all, we're gonna bring the Mentimeter with a question. So if we could actually have an answer, we're gonna put the link in our chat just to make sure we can have a little bit about the energy and to get to know where we are, what are the expectations we're having for today. So if you click in the Wetnum and the Mentimeter, we're gonna have a question for now at this moment to answer. There. What matters the most for me to be here with you today, with us today? So what is actually coming to you? What type of feeling and what is important to us during this meeting? So we can get the feeling, if you feel comfortable about clicking on the chat, and then we have the words. If you feel more comfortable to say in Portuguese or in English, we can also add and ask a couple of the translators to bring that in English as well after. We're gonna be sharing with everyone. So if you feel comfortable, it's just to click on the chat in the Mentimeter. If someone needs any help or any assistance, please let me know and let us know. Then we can also have and give some support. So today we're coming and we're feeling that the most important for us, for me today, is the well-being, sharing, to weave patterns of regeneration among our efforts, connection, double connection, aprender, to learn, compartilhar is to share, building connections, learning about the video project, understand the needs of others in the project, to learn about telling stories of change, connection, learning, presence, collaboration, knowledge, and hope. Learn more about the project and next steps, surprise of all to have occur in the story of life to have us here today, learn more about the program, 2 things to learn a little bit more about pro-social and to share experiences. It's wonderful, so I'll leave it here in a moment so we can gather and have this talk, to have this connection and understanding this, how important it is to share and get to know a little bit more about the people who is actually in this room. I will invite everyone now for breakout rooms, and not just to talk about a little bit what you just brought, what actually it matters to you to come to this meeting, but also why are we here? And why is this so important to you? And to share and get to know a little bit more about the other 2 who's gonna be in the room with you. So we're gonna have a couple of, like, I think 15 minutes in a time that all of you can have at least 5 minutes each to share a little bit more why you're here, what matters to you, and also to have some time to share and learn a little bit more about the others who are in the room with you. Hopefully, if you do feel comfortable about talking a different language that maybe people cannot support or exchange, please let me know now in the chat if you'd rather to talk in Spanish or in Portuguese in this small room. So I can actually have this assistant with Anna, so she can help us to actually make sure that you're gonna be in a room, you're gonna feel more comfortable and more comfortable as possible. Okay, Joe. So why Portuguese not? Let's include next time. But please, if you do feel comfortable speaking or just in Portuguese or just in English or just in Spanish, just let us know. Then we can make sure that we're gonna put people who's gonna be speaking Spanish with you. All right. Okay. So I'm gonna add in your names now, and then we're gonna help. Let me see. But I would like to just give you some time. Ana, tudo bem? Is everything okay? Okay, to have the rooms. And then Elisa would like to speak Spanish. Carlos would like to speak Spanish. So if they could be in rooms for people who speak Spanish, like Joe, maybe we can have them, all of us. Jason just is in English. Come on, Jason, come on. Where is he?
I know. I got to get with it.
Just in English.
It's a goal.
Okay, we're gonna try to take our time together. Let's make sure that we're gonna have the best fit. If not, I'll apologize, but we're gonna do our best for the next round. I'll try to move if there is any problems, but so just to take the time for us to have the best, I would check with Anna and the back support, but please just make sure you can help each other to feel comfortable and make people to feel belonging to this time in this safe space that we wanted to build together. Is that okay? I can help interpretation, the break. Thank you, Thor. That would be wonderful as well if you can be in one of the groups, and maybe if the room has mixed people that would like to speak different languages, we can support each other. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Soledad. Ana, everyone is ready? Okay, so we're gonna have 15 minutes and we'll be back in 15 minutes back to this main room. Thank you so much. So what matters to me, why, and what type of connection I would like to share with someone who is in my room that is going to be important for us to be working together throughout this journey. Thank you so much. Tudo bem? Tudo certo. O pessoal já tá indo? Join breakout rooms? Ok. Ana, vamos poder colocar... O Robert, ele entrou em alguma sala? Coloca o Robert na sala 3 para mim, fazendo favor. E daí eu queria que a Soledad fosse para a sala 2. Ok. Thank you. Ai, que sufoco inicial. Hola, ¿cómo están todos? ¿Están viniendo? Ah. Hey, everyone. Everybody's coming, Ana? Okay. Please make sure, I think people are still coming, but make sure whoever is here, if you would like to choose the option of your translation and the language you would like to be hearing, please do. So how was the first, oh, okay, sorry. Everybody's getting, okay. Hi, everyone. Hopefully everyone is excited and had opportunity to talk. Remembering again, if you would like to hear and have the interpretation in English, Portuguese, or Spanish, please do make your choice in the globe. We're going to have opportunity to bring a little bit of the words that Robert's going to explain about the storytelling and actually the participatory video and the aims for this project, why we're having this opportunity at this time. And at the same time, we're going to have, after the talk from Tor and Soledad from Inside Share, that's going to be all in Spanish. And then please choose English if you need, and Portuguese as well. So we can also honor, because they're going to present and they're going to talk about themselves, so they can actually share why and where they are here and why Inside Share is so important and what they're doing. So we're going to have that in Spanish just to give you a brief update for this time. And then now I would like to invite Robert to just bring a little bit about the content and why this is so important for us throughout this project. And also after introduce Inside Share, Thor and Soledad. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thanks, Michelle, and thanks everyone. Look, lovely to see you all again. I mean, personally, I'm really excited about this aspect of the program, and I said I'm just going to share my screen to remind us where it fits, but also to explain why I'm so excited. I mean, we've all seen this, you know, our program, and here we are here. And we've got 3 extraordinary people here with us today from Insight Share, who I'm going to introduce to you in a moment. And they're going to actually give us an introduction into participatory video. And then they'll be hosting a separate program just for those that we as a community handpick from our organisation to capture our story on video and turn it into documentary. And I think for those folk who we choose, it's going to be a life-changing experience, really valuable opportunity. But you know what I really want for us is to capture a story about the kind of inner change that we want to realize in our world and together, and how we want to impact on critical factors in the future, and stories about the opportunities we're taking to do it, and stories about the lessons we've learned and what would happen if we scaled it up. And I'm hoping that as a consequence of participatory video and the team that we handpicked to capture this story, we'll actually make little documentaries of what you're doing in your organizations, but what we've all done together. And so we can really evolve what we're doing. And Soleil, so let me introduce 3 folk from Insight Share who are going to tell us, they're going to give us an overview of what this part of our journey actually means. And then when they finish talking, which will be after the break, we can talk a little bit more about how this will actually unfold. But there's 3 faces on our screen now, and there's Soleil, who's here. Soleil, do you want to wave? Soleil is you'll get to speak to her in a minute. She has the most delightful presence. She's someone that is infectious. So when I first met her, I was just overwhelmed by her grin and her desire to just support change. And equally with Thor, who's actually in Mexico. Thor, can you wave for us? I can't see Thor, but I assume he's away.
I'm here.
Yeah, so Thor, he struck me as someone who's just real. He just struck me as a real guy, you know, who's absolutely here for other people. And I got a sense that he's been, for quite a long time, he's been doing very powerful work with communities. And I haven't met Tania yet. So she's been nominated as our
yes, she's not here today, but she'll be here in all the participatory video projects.
Yeah, she'll be here. But you know, these folk, along with a whole team of folk who are working with Insight Share around the world, are just doing amazing work. I mean, in a while you'll get some links. You know, so you can go and see their video, their website, and read much more about them. But you know what they do is they use video to empower people to do research and drive innovation by telling their own story. And I've watched some of them, incredibly compelling stories from people who are at the grassroots, who actually realize agency and take control of their lives and impact on things like gender equity and peace building and homelessness and environmental conservation and justice issues, like really powerful stuff. And, you know, they've been doing this for about 22 years, you know, the whole group of them, 400 projects, more than 400 in 60 countries around the world. So we've got people who are leading in this game. I feel so privileged to have met you and privileged that you're here. And so I want to invite you now to tell our people your story and introduce us to what is possible. And then afterward, we can talk a little bit about how we can work together to integrate what you're bringing to this endeavor with what we're aiming to do overall. So everyone, please welcome Soleil and Thor.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'll speak Spanish because, well, many speak Spanish here, so I can also speak English, but I was talking to Thor and we will speak Spanish. And if you need to listen to the English translation, we have interpreters for that. So my name is Soledad Muniz. You can call me Sole. I am Argentinian. I live in London for many years now, although my heart is always in Latin America and I always go there. Well, before the pandemic, much more than now, but I still go there often. And I am the program directors of Inside Share. Thor, would you like to introduce yourself before we go to our presentation? Hi, I am Thor Morales. I am from Mexico, but I live in the US. But my heart is still in Mexico. And in this house, everything is from Mexico. So I've been in Sideshare since 12 years, for 12 years, and I was working in Mexico and we've done things together and I'm part of the team. I also got to know Sole in Mexico. So today we're going to share something that really makes us feel very passionate. It's very important to us and we believe it's something necessary to support change. And so we can talk more later. Well, that's exactly that. First, I'd like to tell you a little bit of Inside Share. I'm going to show you a video because it's so much more than words. We are a horizontal organization. Sole, would you like me to share the screen for you? Yeah, go ahead. Sure, no problem. So we are a horizontal organization and there are two founding members, Chris and Nick. They are brothers and they founded Inside Share. Oh, please leave it there, please. And Chris is an anthropologist and Nick is an activist. They each did their own thing when they were young people. Well, they still are young, and that was 22 years ago. They realized that they could work together in a few things. Because they didn't want to speak for other people. They want people to speak for themselves. And sometimes this happens. Without bad intention, both in the academia and in the civil society, those who are in charge of doing things, sometimes they speak for other people and for communities. And they found this participatory video, which is a method that has been around for many years, since the 1960s. And it was born, like in many other good things in America. The first documentary maker who did that in 1960 was from Canada. And from then on, participatory videos started to be used in social sciences and in activism. And Chris and Nick, together with many other professionals, anthropologists, visual anthropologists, filmmakers, activists, experts in many different areas, they formed the team that we have today, and we work together so that these tools reach more people. Something that's very important to us is the democratization of the creation of knowledge on the one hand, but on the other hand, also the decolonization processes, local decision-making processes, and that the communities can realize their vision for well-being and development and common home in whichever way they find best. We work a lot with indigenous groups around the world. And so the participatory video adds to the way they work. Cultural affirmation and the rights of the indigenous people, the right to the land and self-determination. So this is like a mini introduction of who we are and what we do. We are an organization that's not for profit, but we work with activists and the civil society and the United Nations, universities, companies in themes of sustainability and with all different kinds of actors. Something that always makes me proud whenever I say it is that many of the inspiration of the methodology comes from other Latin people. We work based on the pillars of Paulo Freire, Brazilian. Many of you, I'm sure you know him in his theories of the pedagogy of the oppressed and also the pedagogy of hope. We also work with the same values and themes and some of the methodology of the theater of the oppressed, and also participation methods in research, many that came out from what Orlando Fasborn from Colombia, and in Bolivia, Ponce Mucio, doing a lot of interesting work with communication for the development. So many Latin people have done very good things. And unfortunately, sometimes we don't see that ourselves. Sometimes we need to step a bit away to, so that we can rebuild ourselves. And the most important thing for us, like an organization, is to put the communities at the center of the decision-making process so that they can decide what well-being means to them and development forms that are sustainable, that agree with their values and cultures, and that they're not imposed by a single method, whatever it is. I'm going to show you a video. I think there are other pictures before the video. So yeah. And so I'm going to show you a video that has very few words in English. You can translate if you need. But more than anything else, it's an invitation for you to see what is the participatory video in action before Thor tells you a little bit more about the methodology in more detail. And the last thing is to understand that despite the fact that the video is what you see, and Thor is going to talk a little bit more in detail about why the video is as such, there are many methodologies inside the processes. For example, as I was telling you, there's theater, there's art, participatory visual methods. We also use drawing and design with the human beings at the center, communication to avoid violence. There are many other methodologies that are intertwined there. Transitional justice. So they're all intertwined in the way in which we work. So let's see the video then.
Is it working now?
Well, this in 2 minutes is a bit of what Inside Share believes. We believe that people can change what they want, so long as they work with focus on the things that they are interested in. And the participatory video is a tool, among others, to support these processes. And that's why it can be applied in many themes. And it's going to be a pleasure for us to work with a few of you using the participatory video in this learning process from ProSocial and also in the future. So now I pass the floor to Thor. Thank you, Sole. I'm going to show you the next. Well, as Sole said, I'm going to talk to you a bit more about the participatory video. The presentation is going to be in English. And for those of you who speak English, you will not feel discriminated against, but I will speak Spanish for the others. For those of you who do not understand English, I will speak in Spanish. So we'll talk very briefly about what the participatory video is, and I'm going to ask someone to please control my time if I speak longer than I should. All right. Okay. Thank you. Well, since we're not too many people, maybe we could have a round of people saying their names. And so my name is, my people are, and I will rebuild this world with, or based on, or starting with. So I can begin if you want. And then we can have a round of people to say. I think some of you already know each other, but I don't. So I don't promise that I will remember all the names, but at least I can get to know you a little bit more. And since there are so many translations, you can speak in the language that you prefer. So I will begin. My name is Thor. My people is everyone who good old Donald Trump hates. This is all of my people. Everybody Trump does not like is my people. And I will rebuild the world with joy. I don't know if I should name all of you, or we can do like popcorn and just pop up as you wish. All right, I can go. So we can give time for people to think. So my name is Soledad, but I like to be called Sole. I don't like Soledad. Please call me Sole. And my people, that's a good question. And that's also a broad thing, because my husband is from India and my family is from Argentina and my children are English. So my people come from everywhere. But I will rebuild the world with listening. Thank you, Saleh. So, oh no, please go ahead, please.
I wonder, Thor, if you could stop sharing as well your screen,
Yeah.
so we can see everybody.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Thanks for mentioning that.
And so my name's Robert, and I'm in Australia, but I feel like my people are everybody, actually. And I want to rebuild the world by learning to fall in love again. And I wanted to hand it to Eliza.
I know my people when I see them. And I build the world with, think, understanding and listening. Okay, so who's left?
Paige, Terry,
Terry.
Marcelo, Sonia, Rafa,
Terry.
Paul.
Thanks. Okay, I'm Terry. Yeah, I don't have an answer to the My People one either, which is probably says something interesting right there for those of us who don't know, I guess. And I want to build the world on biodiversity. Sonia. Calling on Sonia, trying to. She's frozen, maybe. Who else is left?
Ana, Diego, Marcelo. Marcelo está, Ana.
Y Carlos también.
Well, my name is Elisa. I say that I'm not from here or not from anywhere. I'm from everywhere. So I believe that my people comes from everywhere, wherever I am. I think that what's constant in my life is love. So I will rebuild the world with love. And now I pass the floor to Diego. Well, hi, my name is Diego. My nickname is Tide. My people, well, I think my people is everyone who lives apart from the system and they want to change the system. And I will rebuild the world based on football. And I pass the floor to Michelle. My name is Michelle. I believe that my people is the world community. And I build the world with the certainty that the strengthening of our human relations bring about the potential to live with meaning and collaboration, and that allows us to bring coherence to our day-to-day lives, for our lives and for the lives of many other people. Hi, my name is Kendra, and my people is educators and parents, caregivers and educators. And I would like to rebuild the world. Ah. Getting people to talk about the right things that have value in this world. I don't know Spanish, so that's why I said it in English and in Portuguese. Professor Josefa? So let's speak Portuguese then. Let's practice a bit of Portuguese. So my name is Josefa, and my people is this part of reality that we call humanity. And I want to help rebuild the world with boldness and joy and love. And so now I pass the floor to Joe. Thank you, Josefa. Hi, my name is Joe. My people is the healers of the world of the planet, Mother Earth, and I'd like to rebuild the world with hands connected to the hearts by touching the soil. And now I'd like to pass the floor to Ricardo. My people are those who believe and those who do not believe in a better society in communion with nature. And I'd like to rebuild the world based on the wisdom of the nature and human capacity. And now I pass the floor to Jason from One Pencil Project. Thank you. Can you hear me? Yes. My name is Jason. My people, I don't know. I am from the United States, and Carlos too. Well, I came here as a tech host, but I think my people is, those people who I identify with, they are together with me, and I look at them and I think, oh, wow, that person makes sense. It makes sense to live, to be around them. And I'd like to rebuild the world with a loving look. And now I pass the floor to Rafael Tulio, Rafa. Thank you, Anna. My name is Rafael. I like to be called Rafa. My people, I say that it's all of the human beings on this planet, and I can rebuild the world by means of a lot of love, compassion, solidarity, and by means of all of these existing connections among all the human beings and all the beings. Thank you. Now I'd like to call Terry. Terry already spoke. Oh, sorry. Kendra, take a look at the chat. I put the names. Kendra has also said something. So Carlos, all right. Thank you. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Carlos Gomez Navas, and I mentioned my second surname because my mother was the one who gave birth to me. My people are the people who are on the planet in love with the truth, in love with love, and in love with what's beautiful. And the other half who's still not there, and we have to convince them. And I believe that I will rebuild the world, starting with regenerating the planet by regenerating the water, the forests, nature, and clean food, and especially regenerating well-being and understanding. Thank you. Would you like to say a name? Marcelo, right? Because Marcelo, I think, has his hand raised for a while. So please, yes, please do. Marcelo, thank you, Thor. Thank you. Well, my name is Marcelo, and my people are the ones who are curious, who see beauty, and who admire what's different, and who open their hearts to everything that's strange. And the reconstruction of the world is a mixture of building with wisdom and also with subversion. Let me see who has not spoken. Please raise your hands. Paul? Yeah, Paul. So Paul, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Paul Atkins. My people are the people who care for the earth and care for equity and fairness and inclusion. And I want to rebuild the earth through love and listening. Sage, I'll pass to you.
Hello, my name is Sage. My people are also those who care for the earth and who care for each other. And I want to rebuild the world with love and our shared collective wisdom. And I will pass to Maria.
Right, so my name is Maria Paula Marmolejo. My people are human beings, everyone. And I'd like to rebuild the world with empathy and compassion and understanding the others. Thank you, Maria. Anybody else? I think we have Jessica and Tonya and Sonia. Go ahead, Sonia. Yeah, sure. Thank you, Maria Paula. My name is Sonia Carrillo Avila. I loved the one who talked about the second surname of the mother, so I'm also going to mention Avila. I am from Colombia. My people, many people are my people, but I'd like to choose children and the young people because I've always worked with children and young people. And I think that we have a lot of things to do there so that we can have a better society and a better world and a more beautiful world. So I will choose children and the youth. And I'd like to rebuild the world with trust. I think that we've lost trust among ourselves and families and the society with the politicians that we've had as bad luck. And so I think trust would help us have a better interaction, better things, and no doubt a better world. Thank you very much for sharing. This exercise is a proof of what a participatory video is. So everybody speaks, or I can assign people, and at the end people just say, no, I'll pass the floor to, and then just everybody did that and learned from that person, and that's it. So this is like a little exercise of what a participatory video is. Everybody wants to speak, everybody wants to tell their stories, everyone has very interesting stories and ways to see life. So this is an exercise that talks about the pure essence of the participatory video. So let's see 3 questions today, very briefly, which is why, what, and how. So let us begin with why the participatory video, and let's talk about the consent and a few principles and an overview of participatory video project, and then let's see how it works with the experience that we have as Insight Share and with the work in the communities. And in terms of what, well, we're going to talk about the phases. And here I divided that into 3 phases. You can actually divide that into many more phases. But the first phase is how to create the community and to learn from the technological matters. But before anything else, we need to create the community or at the same time. And then phase number 2 is the analysis of the reality and to plan what we want to do. And phase number 3 is the participatory video, and very briefly is filming, editing, and sharing. We're going to talk a little bit about the how, so what happens when we're doing it. We have challenges, barriers, and a few experiences that we're going to share with the video. And then we will have a discussion, a Q&A session, and listen to comments, suggestions, and complaints. You can do that by means of the 0800 number. Well, this is a definition that we have, which is a definition from Insight Share for participatory video. We have many theoreticians have worked with that, but I believe this is one that works very well with what we try to do by means of the participatory video. So this is, it is a form of collective creation that involves documentary filmmaking with local participation to create positive changes. It is a process that brings together members of the community to analyze and discuss problems, needs, and concerns, and collective interests through the use of cameras and community screenings. Well, the first question is, why do we do that in a participatory manner? I don't think you are wondering that because you are working together, but let's look into it. Well, first, we want to engage all the voices or most voices as we can. This is one of the main challenges for the participatory video. We want to have many voices in the creation process of media because the traditional method is to have a director and the director guides everything. But in the participatory video, we want many voices directing things and guiding things. But we also have the experiential learning. It's hands-on, so we learn by doing things. It's everybody learning by doing things. Something that's also very important to us is self-representation. It's not necessarily that you have this opportunity for people when they're being filmed, but in the participatory video, it's crucial that you have the self-representation. People are going to dress themselves, they're going to be filmed on the spot in the way that they want to be seen. This is very important. That's why we do that in a participatory manner. Not everyone is familiar with this emic perspective and ethic perspective, and they come from the academy. A few people who have worked with this, I don't know if I can call it theory, but I lived in Mexico, so it talks about emic and etic perspectives and other. An etic is like a perspective from someone from outside, the investigator, the researcher, anyone from the outside. And the etic perspective is from the inside the community. So when you do that participatory, we can balance these two perspectives. And we believe that that's very important. And to be honest, as all of you said, it's more fun if we do it together. Many have said that their people is people from the entire planet, so it's best to do everything together. And when we do the participatory video, we open the doors for everyone to do things together. And so now, why a video? Well, Sally said it very well. There are many methodologies, participatory methodologies. And why did we choose the video? Well, first, because the video is for everyone. Maybe there's a false belief that to deal with the cameras or even to do the editing, you need to have a certain level of formal education or training or technological training. But this couldn't be further from the truth. In our experience, anyone can film. Children, adults, the elderly people, people who know the language of the camera, people who do not know the language of the camera, people who know how to read or don't know how to read. While you can hold the camera, that's the only thing that you need. So this is for everyone. Sometimes you have other types of expression. And also in our perspective, the video empowers. I don't really like this word empowerment, but it gives this power back to the community and the people. Cameras, as you know, at this time, cameras are like weapons, right? Weapons maybe for the good, right? They're not going to kill, but they are weapons that can be used to say things. So the fact that you have a camera and that you can use a camera, that gives you a certain power, and that can also put you in vulnerable situations like in Mexico. But in general, it's a form of empowerment in a good way. And also, the video is very attractive. It's something that attracts a lot of people. Children and the elderly, you have the power of being able to tell the story to a camera, and that's going to be recorded. And not only to empower the people who use the camera, but also the ones who are being recorded. And when you bring so many voices and so many people to do something that it's for everyone, it also amplifies voices. You have a lot of voices. And in terms of the participatory video, the more amplification that you have in the community level, it's when you have the entire people and everybody can talk about what's happening because it's happening in their community. It's part of the reality. So this is also very important. And that's why we like using the video. And when we do that, we can have forums with people, and it also amplifies the voices in the world context of the internet and social networks. It builds bridges, because we saw that the videos builds bridges not only between and among generations, but also culturally. So experiences in different indigenous contexts, we see that by means of the video, and thanks to participatory video in a community, many young people learn a lot more from their culture, and they can rebuild themselves in another way, not thanks to the video, but by means of the opportunity of the door that's being opened by the video. So it creates bridges inside the communities among the generations, but also outside among the communities and indigenous communities, but not only them. Communities that are marginalized, or communities that want to have projects for change, and they can learn that. So it creates and it builds bridges inside and bridges to the outside as well. And in our opinion, it is also a catalyzer. It's a catalyzer for change, because change, it can be inside the community, but it also can be from the community to the outside. And it can be entirely to outside, and it does not have to do with the community so much. So it's a catalyzer. And if you want, before the break, we can watch this small video from a Maasai activist. And he talks a little bit about how the participatory video is a revolutionary tool in the fight of the Maasai people for their rights and their territory and their dignity. And if you all agree, I can play. It's a very short video. And then we can go to our break. Michelle will tell us about that. When we will come back. So as you can see, can anybody tell me if we watch the video or if we stop? Please. Well, I'll just play it. Yep, go ahead. Right. I don't know if you have questions now. We can do now or afterwards, or would you like me to continue with the presentation? What do you prefer, questions or afterwards? Well, I'd like to have the presence of Soledad here. She's still with us, and I'd like to ask her, what are the most common doubts from this process that she would like to share with us now? Well, one associates the video in general with professional product. There's this link, and for this professional product, it needs to have a massive audience. And this is not the case with the participatory video. The documentaries, they have a perspective of reaching a film festival and, have a lot of people watching it. But the participatory video, the first objective is to have a social change, that the group of people who want and are filming this, they want that. So the video is sometimes to be watched by one person and maybe by a million people. So it's not that the audience always needs to be massive. For example, it can be the neighbors watching or the peers. And it can never be online. It can maybe only seen and watched in face-to-face screenings for people to talk about the themes. So who is the audience? What is the story? Those are things that the group decides when they're doing this process. But in a more traditional process, it's like you have a percentage and you have a big audience. Of course, there are videos that are on our YouTube channel and people wanted to have them in that place, or they wanted the videos to be on TV, but that doesn't mean that all the videos need to reach that. Each group needs to decide. It can be videos that are internal only for a network of activists, and they can share stories there and they don't want anyone else to watch, and only those people in those networks, so that they can learn from others, because they can be talking about confidential things that they don't want others to watch. So that's why it's very flexible, the tool. And for me, that's what's most interesting, that they can find out, the workshop that we're going to have that Robert explained at first. And I called you Roberto Robert. I made it Spanish. Anyway. The idea is that there are different ways to use the method, that it can be found out, but also they can use it first as a way to document and reflect on the process of pro-social world that everybody's doing together, but they can also learn many other different ways of using it. Thank you, Soledad. Thank you. And could you speak a bit about research an investigation in this process? Because there is an application for that as well, right? Yes. The participatory video, it can be used as an academic research tool. Both for those who work with action research, working with projects and thinking about them and reflecting about them, but also a more traditional research in which the participatory video can be one of the tools for a qualitative method. The most interesting thing in terms of research, in my view, is that it generates a process that is a little bit more of equality of power, just a little, because, you know, scholars are always going to have more power than a community group, but it democratizes a bit the process of who tells the story and in what way. And many times it can be a complement to publishing as well, because academic research tends to be published in written form only, you know, in peer review journals, and in contexts that only a certain group of the population can have access to that. But when you work with participatory videos, you can democratize that, and also this part of, you know, having more people have access to that, and these videos can be part of this access, not only in written publication form. It's always important, but especially when you work with contexts, with communities and groups of people that not everyone has the same level of literacy. So the spoken word in this way has more equity than the written word. And also, you know, we have different languages, and in the video you can have subtitles like Thor showed you, and they can speak in another language. And it can bring this complexity, and it can make things a bit simpler. In the chat, I answered a few questions from Paul. I don't know if I was clear. So Paul.
No, I think that's enough for now. I'm just interested, I guess I am interested in methods for building trust in this process. And I guess what I'm hearing is a lot of that is about self-determination and participation in how things are used.
Yes, and I think the ownership side is really important, because people decide what's in the video and what is not. So they can do the editing in every aspect of it, in terms of editorial editing. So it's quite important that that is done that way, because then when people really own the story and who is it for, then in my experience, trust is quite big. We experience that in contexts where people don't trust anybody. And in conflict context, in peace building context, in context of authoritarian governments, in context of persecution. But if you create trust in the group is going to take ownership and then do amazing things in any topic. So I think the method is important, but it's also not breaking that side of things in ownership and then saying, you know, you made this lovely video and now this is mine as an organization or as an academic, and I do what I want with your video. That is really important, not to break it.
Do you mix off the record with on the record? somehow? Like if you're doing research, I'm just wondering how there's space for people to speak when not to the video if they're really concerned about some particular thing.
Yes, so there are things that people may tell you that don't end up in the video. So the workshop space, it could be amazing material as well for research. When you are leading the workshop, the facilitator, that can be the researcher or a group of people leading the process, that you will have a lot of data in what people discuss, what they prioritize to put, what not, how they reach consensus, because it's not one person video, it's a group process. And also how they manage sometimes. I would say there is less cases of that, but sometimes when there is some conflict of interest between people or power dynamics, and that's quite also healthy that they navigate that in the workshop space until they reach an agreement. What's the narrative, you know, and why, and what's the best way to get there. So all of that doesn't end up in the video. So it is really useful research material if you are interested in documenting that part, and the group wants that and agrees with that. But in my experience, they normally do, and then also that can sometimes explain also some of the impact, you know, of what a project achieved. On, you know, for example, changes in people's understanding of each other. Yeah. So that's quite interesting part also as well, I would say.
Thank you, Soleil.
Anybody else would like to ask anything to Soleil since she's here?
I think we're fine. And at the same time, I think a little bit of the structure is going to be shared by you, right, Thor, so people can understand. Like already Robert had introduced that we're going to have another line in our journey, which is going to be the 14 meetings for the participatory video, which is going to be very important after. So if this is going to be considered, that we can share a little bit about the structure so people can understand and they can plan. This is something I would like to add before they leave. Like we said, this is a journey who's being built based upon our collective experience. There is a main journey, but there are many aspects that we've been talking and also having individual conversations that Robert, Marcelo, and I will probably going to be restarting a new cycle. And we've been thinking and learning the other opportunities that can grow. So this participatory video on the side is going to be one of the experiences that we're going to have. And then we can invite and ask someone from our organizations that would like to be attending and participating on this wonderful workshop that InsightShare is going to be sharing with us and helping and assisting us and teaching us how to do it with all this wonderful background they already have. We also are going to have a couple of different meetings that probably education is going to be a cycle where we have an opportunity to talk and discuss and exchange suggestions and experiences, organizations, among organizations of education. Also, we're probably going to have a different one that we can talk specifically about research. Those things Robert's going to say after. So all of the schedules that we have from our partners like InsightShare and the other organizations, and Robert is going to be sharing as well. It's important for us to have the structure so all of our team and all the organizations here can start planning and taking the most of the experience as best as they can, having the best people that can benefit it, because we know that this is a great opportunity that we're having, but there's a lot of effort that we need to put as an extra effort and organize ourselves to have it. So I think now I could see, I gave some time. They didn't get any questions. I have no new questions, but if anyone would like to have any questions, either for structure or content or outcomes, that can be any other question. If not, then we can also invite Thor to get back on his conversation. And Soledad, thank you so much for coming. Please stay as much as you can. You know how much this is important to add any energy that we wanted to put and combine our efforts as Latin Americans together, putting our hearts and adding to this project. So thank you so much. But I know as anyone here, if you need to go, because I know
thank
Europe
you.
is a very light time.
I was just going to say a tiny thing before I leave is, yes, please think about who in your organizations would like to be part of something like this, the parallel track that Robert told you at the beginning. So you can all, you know, make the most of it. And of course, Robert and Marcelo are going to send you more details and guidance. But yeah, we hope that you want to select some people in your team to join this. And yeah, stay in touch. And Thor will show you some case studies, and anything else, of course, you can also check out in our website and YouTube channel. And I'll be more than happy to also be in touch if you need. You know, they can give you my email and anything else. Yeah.
Thank you. A great rest of the session to you. Thank you, Soledad. Thank you. Bye-bye. All right, so I'll go back to something that was already mentioned. I think Paul mentioned it, which is building trust, and that has to do a lot with the consent and the principles of this participatory video. So in the participatory video, the consent must always be prior, free, informed, and we want it to be revocable, so people can give this consent afterwards. They can say, no, I don't want that anymore. And to have this opportunity changes a lot in which the consent is seen. And also the consent in general, in the traditional filmmaking, you have a consent release, a consent form, and then people can do anything that they want with it. But no, for us, it can be a consent to participate or to be filmed, also to be screened, to be shared on the web or on reports or publications. So we have different levels of consent. And we also have this revocable part, and that helps build trust. We will have, we had a workshop, and the first thing that we did was to have this consent. And one person told me, I have been working on this for 20 years in so many meetings, and nobody ever asked me for consent to take my picture. So this is the first time. So to do that, you already start building trust, and you have different relationships because of that. And the consent, we can obtain that in a local, traditional manner, or regional, national, and also international manner. And we need to have a mutual agreement with other people. So if the agreement is going to be by means of release forms, you can do that, but you can also do that on a video format. So in any way that is agreed upon by the parties, that's the best way to work. It doesn't need to be one form, like a written form. Many use consent they do that by means of a video. So in terms of the principles of the participatory video, as we do, we have our horizontal processes. Mistakes are great. They're always welcome. We want to have mistakes so that we can learn from them. And we are all teachers, and we are all learning. So we are all learning, and we're all teaching. These three principles, together with the consent and the way that you can do the consent, I think they allow to build trust very quickly, and my experience has been everywhere. So let's look at a process overview of this participatory video. So we begin. Let's see if you can see that. All right. So we start with the preparations for the workshop, and then we have this play, phase number one. You have a community, you have games in the community so that you can have the technical matters, and then each team can decide on what to do. Then we have a bit of feedback inside the group. So we speak and we have a better focus on what we want to do. And then there's a part in which it has to be with this focus. So what we want to focus. So it's a part of the analysis of the reality. So there's an entire preparation for the video, for the film, and then we have the filming part, which is here on green. And then that also has to do with the screenings so that we can see the direction with the community. And then you have a step of editing. And then you have another step that includes, once again, screenings. And based on these screens, maybe there's a need to film more or to keep on editing. And then we have investigation processes with the communities. We have an evaluation process to see how the process was, to document it, and to share once we have a consent. So you can, if you can look at the image in this circle here, this red circle, this says stop. These are the crucial moments in which we must have consent, and we have to go back because you propose a consent and then you go back. First, you have a consent to participate, and then when you start filming, you have a consent to be recorded, and then there's a consent that once people have been filmed, as if they consent to being the way that they were, if they want to change something else. But if you also have screenings, then you have another consent so that you can share. So the consent is always present, and to do it like that is always is also a way not only to building trust, but also to maintaining trust in the relationship and to have this horizontal relationship with the people with whom we're working. In terms of the days and the activities, this would be a scheme. I'm showing you the images because those are the images that we use as part of the visual participatory methods. This is all built by the group with which we're working. There's nothing pre-made. Everything is being done on the time. So let's say if we had a time of 11 days, like 10 or 11 sessions, which is what we're going to have with you as well. This is what we want in a participatory video project. First, we have the participants, we see the roles and the time. So when are you going to see each other, for how long? Is it going to be 90-minute sessions or an hour and a half, 2 times a week, maybe? But we also need to see with you, with the people who are going to participate, and how we can be organized so that everybody participates. And then we design the roles, and you have the 2 days for all of the games, the reflections, and to learn from the community, and also the use of the camera by means of these games. So there's this learning and experience. And then we have 2 other days in which we talk. We talk about the analysis of the reality and what are the messages that we want to convey. So there's a bit of planning here, and analysis and intention. And then this is much broader, right? But let's say in an in-person workshop that can last for 2 or 3 days for the recordings, why do we only have one practice? Well, we decided to do this. Are we going to have a dramatization or interviews, or are we going to have cut always? Because you have these shots in the interviews, or are you going to have narration in the videos? And then we also have 2 or 3 days for a very intensive training on editing. And then 1 or 2 days to do the screenings for the community and to have a space to reevaluate the workshop and to reevaluate the screening for the community and to plan for the next steps. So this very briefly would be an overview of these 10 or 11 sessions during an 11-day period. So everything begins with this activity, and we call that in front or on the back of the cameras. This is for the participatory video so that people can feel what it is to have a camera and also to be in front of a camera or behind the camera. So that can generate this empathy and awareness of how other people can feel. So this is a group of researchers and activists from the community and also people who work with the community in Mexico City. That's a beautiful project about smart cities and blue spaces like rivers, lagoons, lakes in the city and how important they are. So we are training researchers from Mexico and England to have this research project in Mexico City and also in the UK. And then we have games, and people learn by having fun and by doing trial and error. So we show them how to do that, and we have comics. And little by little, the level of complexity and planning gets higher. So you add to what was said before. So we start to have, in a few of the games, have concepts from history. This is a concept of the story. It's very simple. So you can have 8 takes and start to create processes of storytelling. So this is just a microphone that thought he could not have a sound, and he decided to end his life. But the only thing that was happening was that the cable was not connected. So that's the example. And in the local process, you do the filmings, you have the exercises, you have the names, and you screen that. So you film and then you screen, and then you film and then you screen. And this does a cycle of feedback that's very important, both for learning based on the mistakes and also in the building of community, and to be surprised by the different ideas and ways you use the camera. And then we go to analysis of reality, the problems and the situation. And then we can have a few rough drafts that are more complex. This was about a person. I don't really remember the name. It's a story. We also talked about the types of takes, a bit of the language of filmmaking without going too much into details to influence in the aesthetics and the way people wanted to present the ideas. And we also use in this step, especially the analysis of reality and a bit of the planning. And so we think about the messages that we want to convey and the changes that we also want. And also activities that we have here, participatory methods, and the mapping of actors, and also a power mapping, different types of participatory mappings. We also use the classic solution tree or problem solution tree so that we can go into the theme. In this part of the workshop, this is where you have that part. And then this exercise that's very good, which is called Path to the Audience. So what do we want to say? What are the messages? How can we imagine that things can go? Takes that are directly to the heart or directly to the brain, and what data, what can generate emotions. And then at the end, we can have a script that's much more complex and much more well done, that's going to be able to plan our video. And it's important to do that because that saves a lot of time in terms of the production. And once you have this script, we can change it as we recorded. It's not a problem, but it's very important because if you want to improvise, you can include new elements, you can also do that. And people can film in iconic situations or documentaries or drama, whatever is available as well. And then we have a collective editing. It's not individual. There are always going to be 2 or 3 people there in the computer. We start to review the material, to organize it, to see what's there, what can be useful, and then we can screen something to the community. And based on this screening and the dialogues that we have, we can go back to editing, and we can go back to reviewing and to listen to what the community has to say and to bring it home. And then once again, screen. So the final part is like a cycle of screening, editing, filming, and screening and editing again, so that you can have a video with more voices and contributions from the community, and not only by the team. Let's put it that way. And something that we've seen that's very important with the participatory video is, in all of these processes, what we look for is to change the balance of power a bit. So in terms of gender and generation and knowledge, or appreciation of knowledge in the formal or informal situation. So this is a tool that, by means of the process, that helps us change power relations up till a certain point, and that allows to have more voices and to be more inclusive and more equitable. This is a little video. It's 5 minutes. It's about a video collective group that we've been working with them for many years now. A few of the articles that were shared were like an analysis of us, and this was the experience of how it was done, like a more academic analysis of how the experience was. So we've been working so many years working with them, and they keep on doing that. It's they're still working in Mexico and other countries in South America, making videos and also training facilitators from other communities. And with them, we also had workshops and activists, students and researchers, and we changed the roles, we inverted them. We had also people from the indigenous communities and women going to give workshops for those who have more formal education. So if you would like, I can play the video very quickly to you.
Me llamo Valentina Barnett, yo vengo de Ponta Chueca. Me interesa el video participativo porque así puedo ayudar a la gente de la comunidad para hacerles un video sobre los proyectos que tienen.
Yo me llamo José Luis Bajeca Buitimea, soy de Tetaviate. El video participativo, pues es algo, pues yo pienso que como que no tiene precio, puede ayudar de muchas cosas, porque es una forma de...
Uy, perdón, no sé qué pasó.
Participativo, pues es algo, pues yo pienso que como que no tiene precio, puede ayudar de muchas cosas, porque es una forma de, pues de llegar a así sin frontera, pues donde sea. Pues a mí me gustaría ser facilitador de video participativo, porque pienso que tiene una gran visión, una gran fuerza y un impacto grande que puede percutir para ayudar a cualquier persona, a cualquier comunidad.
Me llamo Eusebia Flores Valenzuela, soy de la comunidad de Tetaviate, soy yaqui. Lo que me gusta de este tipo de trabajos es que pues salgo fuera y pues conozco en este caso a otras etnias, y pues conocer las diferentes culturas, y me gusta trabajar con la gente de las comunidades, me gusta apoyar, más o menos resolver la problemática, o más bien conocer por qué se está llevando todo esto.
Mi nombre es Juan Samuel Cupis Pérez y vengo de Estación Vica, de las comunidades yaquis. Y mi esposa, que se llama Valentina García Valenzuela, también se encuentra aquí presente. Estamos aquí con la finalidad de ayudar a la gente de nuestra comunidad. Esto que es una oportunidad que se llama video participativo. El video es importante por la comunidad porque por medio del video se puede expresar que en algo escrito casi nadie lo ve, y por medio del video se nota más y es más dinámico, que la gente va captando de las imágenes.
Yo soy Anabela Carlón Flores y vengo de Loma de Vacum, del territorio yaqui. Cuando recién empecé, pues sí, como que no sabía qué ondas iba a pasar con esto del video, pero ya cuando le fui entendiendo, al video participativo es darle a la comunidad su oportunidad para poder decir algo de la forma que ellos quieran hacerlo y con las imágenes que ellos quieran mostrarlo, teniendo siempre ellos el control de qué hacer con su video, qué publicar, qué decir y qué mostrar. Estoy aquí porque, bueno, esto es parte del video participativo que empezamos en el 2010 y pues no podemos dejar un proyecto tirado, tiene que tener una continuación y producto.
Mi nombre es Romelia Bernet y vengo de la comunidad de Punta Chueca. Me parece que es muy importante esta herramienta para ayudar a mi comunidad porque se dan a conocer por medio del video las problemáticas o los proyectos que se hacen en la comunidad y darlos a conocer a otra gente o a la misma comunidad. Me gustaría ser facilitadora del video participativo porque me parece muy importante y necesario ayudar a otras comunidades para que se integren y sepan cómo crear su propio video, porque pues más que nada porque ellos mismos conocen lo que hay dentro de sus comunidades para saber desarrollar un tema.
I have another video also about Mexico and like the second part of this experience. I don't know if you would like to watch it, but we can also watch another one that's from the north of Kenya. This has subtitles in English. The audio is going to be in several languages, but none that I can translate.
Is it okay if we could share a little bit of the videos after maybe, and then people can take a look and also share to their communities? And then maybe if they have questions and if you would like to give a couple of more information at the end. So if it's okay for you.
Sí, sí,
Can we
sí.
share? Yeah.
Sure. Sure, if you want. We can have another round of questions if I understood correctly.
If there is any questions that anyone has, si hay alguna pregunta or
if anybody has any questions that you also would like to ask today so that we can talk to Thor.
A couple of few minutes because Thor, it's been delighted. Like I'm super excited because I totally believe in video and the power of stories made by people. So congratulations for this wonderful job. And I'm so happy that you're going to be together with us throughout this journey and bringing to more communities in Latin America, the power of that, like you said, I'm not really fan of empowerment word either, but giving the opportunity so people can actually show and with courage and wisdom they're winning the causes and the issues that they would like to share, and also the achievement. So it's wonderful.
Wonderful. Would you mind stop sharing your screen?
Sí, sí, sí. Ya voy.
But thank you so much. Yes, Sonia.
Marcelo was asking a question about the use of these strategies that are very attractive for research. And now on the video, one of the people was talking about how to do that or how to facilitate the continuity of these processes. And it's something that I've always had as a doubt when we use these types of participatory strategies for these communities, how to ensure that they are sustainable in time. Because I think our role is, if we're giving voice to the members of the community, we want to maintain that after we are gone and after the actions of researchers. I don't know, Thor, what would you recommend so that we can ensure that the continuity is there for these processes? Thank you, Sonia. Well, what I would suggest is to, let's say, to begin, you know, in the beginning, when you're going to harvest something, you have to prepare the land so that you can have the seed flourishing, right? So you're going to have a plant, but you're never going to have flowers and fruits, and that's going to die after a few years. In one case, there's not going to be a continuity. So in our experience, especially with the work here in Mexico and in the north of Kenya, let's talk about the material part. It's very important to have a team with us. If you don't have a team, for sure, the project, well, not 100% sure, but it's a great likelihood that the project will not have a continuity. This is something important that I see. But in terms of the training or of planting the seed, what I believe is important at first is to work with people who are interested in the community, to do something for the collective people, not precisely because of the media, because people sometimes they are interested in the community and this person is okay, and they're still going to do that. And if they have this tool and they can support another person, another group, because they have the team and they can continue, that's going to be sustainable in time. For example, one experience in Argentina was that we had a workshop for 10 or 12 days, and we do not leave the team. So we had two groups of Guarani people. We did not leave the equipment. So one group, despite not leaving the equipment, they kept on working because it's something that they care about, to document their traditions, to do research about their territory, because now it's urban and how it used to be. So I believe that if you plant the seed, that this is yours, you can either let it die or you can let it grow, and it's your decision. So if you plant the seed well, the people are going to give continuity. In Mexico, they're still working, and we did not have funding for 2 years, but they still keep working. Managuno, they are still doing that for their things. They've done that for the Inter-American Court of Rights, for example, to document violations of human rights on the part of the state government. So they're still doing the work. So it's important to leave the equipment and also to prepare the land, and so that there is a germination when the rain falls and the moment is right. Thank you. Anybody else? I see one hand. Yes, I have a question. Thank you so much for your presentation. And it has to do with this equipment that you use and the resources for all of this participatory video process. Do you use mobile phones, you know, for people who can use because it would be easier for them, or normally do you work with the equipment that we saw on the videos that you showed? Thank you. No, I have the philosophy that the best camera is the one that you have. So if you have a mobile phone, cell phone, then that's what you're going to use. In Mexico, I had a privilege because there was funding for many years. And that allowed us to buy a bit more sophisticated cameras. But we have done that with cameras, with cell phones, you know, with whatever is there for the people. Because for us, the camera is just a tool. It's like you're a good writer and I can give you a pencil. You're going to write something good. It can be, you know, a pen from Paris or whatever, but you're going to write the same way. It's maybe it's going to look better, but you know, you're going to write like that. So we work with that, whatever you have and whatever can be done. Okay, right. And in terms of the editing, I can also suppose that you work with open source or this type of tool, right? Well, in software editing, it depends. In many contexts with indigenous communities, we prefer to use Mac because it's hard. You know, you can say, oh, it's very expensive, but yes, but it lasts because it's going to last for years. And we used for that for 8 years. And then the other equipment we used and we sent it to Africa. So we just changed a hard drive and it's still there. So it worked for 8 years and we still sent it to Africa and it's still working. So in certain contexts, we prefer to use Mac. One thing, because it's not full of viruses as well, because the computer, when we did not use Mac, it was full of viruses because people, you know, look for other things online and they chat and they use for email, you know, and not only the videos. And in 5 minutes, it was full of viruses. So we tried working with open source and free software, but if you can't, you already use what you have on the computer. There's a strong investment, but sometimes you have to spend more. But if it's going to last for 7 or 8 years, I mean, Mac is, you know, people die, but Macs do not. So, all right, thank you. But when we use phones, we edit with the software that we have, and that's free. And maybe it's not good to say, but we use Final Cut to edit in many other countries.
I think Robert has something to add to that too. Robert?
Yeah, thanks. So just following up on the question about the right equipment, we've actually got some budget, and our plan is to actually purchase the same phones for everyone to use. So it actually makes it much easier to actually run the whole program, because you'll all be using the same software during the sessions that Thor will be facilitating. It'll be the same direction you receive. When I was speaking to Thor and Soleil beforehand, I mean, they indicated that it's wise to actually use the phone just for video and not actually use it for email and all these other things, because I mean, the amount of data you capture and all of those kind of things, and to avoid corruption. So we've got some budget. Over the next, I'll speak more about this later in terms of next steps, but we want to communicate with you about how to handpick the people from your community to take carriage of this thread in the program, because my view is this is a career-changing opportunity. We'll be looking to all of the collaborators to pick 2 people who really want to invest themselves in this aspect of the program, but also potentially make it a significant part of their life work going forward. So it'll be a huge skill set that's actually folded into your own organizations. And but we'll talk to you more about that. I mean, and in doing that, you know, we want to try and source these materials at an equitable price. And if it exceeds the budget we've got, I'd like to reach out to you to ask if you'd be able to complement that with some kind of in-kind investment so we can get the best equipment for this job, because I think it's really, really important.
Thank you, Robert. That's very important. Wonderful that there's budget for that. It's very important. And yes, we need to handpick people to do that. Any other questions? Anybody else would like to say anything else? I don't think so. Thank you so much, Thor.
I'd like to thank you and invite you to go again to Mentimeter, and we've got another question, and it's about insights and learning. So Michelle, I think could you put again in the chat the Mentimeter link? And the question is, what are the insights or learnings I am taking with me about participatory video process? Okay, so we'd like to invite you for answering that question. It's in the chat already, the link. Isn't it, Michelle? Yeah, that's it. We've got also the question, and we are going to write down in English, in Spanish and Portuguese as well. Thanks, Anna. Okay. Right, so we can see the critical importance of seeking consent at all phases and the value of games for building community at the beginning. Wonderful. No, so el consentimiento, el acuerdo mutuo construye confianza, for sure. ¿Alguien va a escribir en portugués, por favor?
Sí, por favor.
Anybody is going to write in Portuguese? Yes. Somebody else wrote the consent and mutual agreement that builds trust.
A ver. Oh, that's important. Power of voice. Yes, it's wonderful.
Where are the Brazilians? Thor also speaks Portuguese. So you speak 3 languages. There we go. To look by means of different angles to the individuals, communities, and ecosystem.
Bottom up, community-led, full of touching moments, local knowledge and views of the world. Wonderful. Right. So I'd like to invite Robert to say some words, Robert, about the next steps. Maybe how we are going to deal with this this capacity, and maybe to help us to look
certainly. At that. I think, hang on, stop sharing. I just want to get something to show you. I hope everybody's got a sense of you know, why this thread in the program is actually so important. I'm just going to share the program thread again, but I'm going to put an updated version in the chat. So over the, this is the diagram you've seen up until now. I've just dropped this one in the chat, and you'll see that from today's session, it leads into a series of sessions that are dedicated to participatory video. And there's dates here. These are the weeks beginning, all right? We haven't chosen a day yet, but these are the weeks that these sessions will be happening, and they'll be starting in about 1 month's time. And so what we'll be communicating this to all of the collaborators after this event, but what we need you to do is to pick 2 people from your community or your organization who will take carriage of this stream. And as they're learning about the first 10 sessions about documenting the inner work of each organization participating in this broader stream of activities, then the last 4 sessions will be dedicated to capturing stories of most significant change. So these people who are participating in this program with Thor and the others from Insight Share will be working with you as you're going through this mainstream of activities, capturing the story of this journey. So please give some serious thought to that. I'm going to just pop in the chat now. This will be emailed to you later, but in the chat is a link to the Insight Share website, as well as the team members. You know, you got the email address of Soleil and Thor and Tanya, but also there's a link to a TEDx video that goes for 17 minutes by Chris Lunch, who's one of the brothers who founded it, which gives a really succinct overview of what it's about, so you can show this to your people. So what's your email over the next week as we send out a message about enrolling people in this thread in the program? Well, personally, I think it's really, really important, and I think it'll add huge value. I hope you're feeling that. Some of the very next session, I want to invite Paul to say a few words about the next session, and then I'll speak a little bit about catching up with others in concert with what we're doing. So the next session in 2 weeks' time is about the personal development and the inner change, which is kind of the glue that holds it together. So, but Paul, would you like to? Paul's going to be the host of that session, and so Paul, do you want to say a few words about it?
Sure, thanks, Robert. So this session really is building on the idea that a critical part of our effectiveness in the world creating change is how we see the world and how clear we are about our purpose, and really bringing attention to our own sense making and our own reactivity to the world. So that we can build connection and build trust and build insight together. And we'll be working with a particular idea or a particular kind of skill that we call psychological flexibility, which is really the capacity to live with intention. And even in the difficult times, in the times where we'd rather avoid or go into fight-flight mode, to be able to reconnect with what really matters and to move in that direction, because building community is we hurt where we care. Building community is as much about challenges as it is about the good times and the easy times. So it'll be an opportunity, this session will be an opportunity. I know that many of you are already interested in or working in the spaces of gratitude, for example, or spirituality. And what we want to do, that this will be an opportunity for you to bring some of your ideas around the importance of inner work and the methods of working with the inner work as well to the session. So that's our hope, is to kind of start from the inside and work out through this program. So I think that's probably enough, Robert. Is that anything else you'd like me to say?
Yeah, no, thanks, Paul. That's great. And just a couple of more messages for me before we sign off. I'm organising, Marcelo and Michelle and I are organising to actually catch up with each collaborator one-on-one. We've done that with Terry and Joe Brewer, and it's been invaluable. We've really been able to figure out how this program can respond to the needs of you and your organisation. And so over the next week, please look out for an invitation from Marcelo for us to catch up. For me, these conversations are really important. I mean, you can see how ambitious it is. And what I want to do is really collaborate with you to make sure that what we're designing is co-designed to the best of our abilities, and we're responding to the needs of you and your organisation more broadly. Because my hope is that when we repeat this cycle next year, at the end of it, where we've got a documentary about the power of change of community and what is required to evolve things in a healthier direction. And you can invite broader stakeholders in your system to another entire cycle. So we're looking to really grow this. And personally, I'm wanting to transition from to a point where we really feel like we're collaborating. And I don't feel like we've quite got there yet. The other thing is there are a number of people who are wanting to formally research this process. We want to organise a meeting just for researchers, and David will be working very closely with this group, with Paul and my input, so that any formal research that takes place, we can take care of it. We need to form an agreement together, and we want to discuss approaches to getting ethics approval and those kind of things. So we've already made some of those inquiries, and we want to just share with you what we've got in place in the background to allow us to formally conduct research in this space. So they're my main messages. I mean, thank you everybody for coming along. It's been a long session, and I'm now inclined after 2 sessions to make these 2.5 hours long instead of 3. I feel as though 3 hours is a bit taxing. So we'll look at that seriously as well. Thanks everybody. And thanks, Michelle.
Thank you so much. I know it's like a lot of content. There are so many things going on. Much appreciation to all of you inside chair. Also, yes, we can have, so all the conversations that we're going to have with Robert, we're going to be signing up pretty soon. If you already have a date available in your agenda and you would like to request, please send it to us through either our WhatsApp in our community or through our WhatsApp or emails. It's like totally open, the opportunities that we have. There's so many things that we can build together. And I was even wondering, Sonia, because I know you have a wonderful project with gratitude. Next week, we're gonna have this activity with Paul regarding inner work. If you do have any practice that you would like to share, then maybe we can bring either in the beginning or at the end, honoring your project and the knowledge you already have, practicing with the children, which is beautiful. We all carry our children inside of us. If we're not, it's a good inner work process that we should take care of. So please, if I could count on you, I would really appreciate. And same thing, sure. I know Josaphat has, thank you so much. I know Josaphat has wonderful project as well. I'm not sure yet the activities, but Josaphat, if you would like to bring anything regarding emotions and what you do with your project, with your communities, would you like, I can say in Portuguese if you would like, but I know you're okay. If you could bring maybe someone from your team, maybe we can finish the meeting on next week, our next meeting about inner work with some activity or appreciation or that you have with your organization, Josaphat. Can I make this invitation to you?
I'll be in Greece on holiday that week, but I'll check with the team. I'll make it work. I'll try to be here, but I can't confirm for the others. I'll see with Kendra I'm sure she can. I hope she
Okay,
can.
okay. We will talk to you on the side, but thank you so much about all this. And then we're gonna have this another process. And I'm inviting all of you that are here until now. If you have any artists or any video or any activity you already working in your organizations, or you had experience to share or to contact, please let us know, because then if you do have another suggestions of music or any artistic expression or anybody they would like to invite to come to our meeting, please let me know either here on the chat or in our WhatsApp group in our community. So thank you. I have a final video. I know it's gonna take a little, just a little. I know Robert Paul needs to leave, and it's just an example. Maybe I can share. What do you think, Robert? Can I share? Can I share? Guys, it's just a video. Okay. Anna, please, I'm just gonna share a little bit. This is actually a combination when I see the power of artists and languages and people working together. It's a video called La Raíz, creo. It was a video made by the, Anna, can you put for me? So I think it's the power, playing for change.
Hasta la raíz.
Hasta la raíz, sí. No sé si todos los conocen, but I could see.
Natalia Lafourcade.
No sé, pero es it's an example that I can see and feel the connection of how much the power of Latin America can work all together, singing and making the movement and changing towards something that is a very common factor that we have among us. But we can cross the barriers and actually make it and united us in one little single video.
Busco a mi hijo. Estoy buscando desde 1983. La amo, la recuerdo, a todos los días la espero.
Temos que ter acesa a fé e a esperança de reencontro.
Nuestro corazón del suelo al cielo buscándolos.
Hasta la raíz.
Cruzando ríos, andando selvas, amando al sol. Cada día sigo sacando espinas de lo profundo del corazón. En la noche sigo encendiendo sueños para limpiar con el humo sagrado cada recuerdo.
Cuando escribo tu nombre en la arena blanca con fondo azul, cuando miro al cielo en la forma cruel de una nube gris, aparezcas tú. Una tarde subo una alta loma, miro el pasado, sabrás que no te he olvidado. Yo te llevo dentro hasta la raíz, y por más que crezca vas a estar aquí. Aunque yo me oculte tras la montaña y encuentre un campo lleno de caña, no habrá manera, mi rayo de luna, que tú te vayas, que tú te vayas.
Pienso que cada instante sobrevivido al caminar y cada segundo de incertidumbre, cada momento de no saber,
Son la clave exacta de ese tejido que ando cargando bajo la piel. Así te protejo, aquí sigues dentro.
Yo te llevo adentro hasta la raíz, y por más que crezca vas a estar aquí.
Aunque yo me oculte tras la montaña y encuentre un campo lleno de caña, no
más que crezcas, vas a estar aquí.
Aunque yo me oculte tras la montaña y encuentre un campo lleno de caña, no habrá manera en mi rayo de luna que tú te vayas, que tú te vayas. Yo te llevo dentro hasta la raíz.
Y por más que crezcas, vas a estar aquí.
Aunque yo me oculte tras la montaña y encuentre un campo lleno de caña,
No habrá manera, mi rayo de luna, que tú te vayas.
que tú te vayas.
May we have the opportunity to build something like that goes beyond our organizations and our countries in a way that we can promote the videos and the connections that we are looking for the whole world. Why not? So thank you so much for the wonderful experience today, and then appreciation to Robert, Marcelo, and also Thor, who's been here, and all of you. Also much appreciation to the translators if they would like to open their videos so people could make an applause to make sure that you guys are being so important to us in a way that we can deconstruct and build bridges at the same time. I'm not sure if they can open their cameras, but just much appreciation to all of you, and also Anna, who's here today. Thank you so much for Jessica and Lorena for being here, and also Carol, because this is the only way we can actually promote this togetherness that we're looking for in our continent, who has the privilege to have so many languages all combined, but at the same time, they have the unique and the only heart that is from being Latin America's old people who's coming to here to feel the connection and the warmness that we have in the Connect. So thank you so much. And we see you in 2 weeks, and still connecting throughout our WhatsApp community, and also having these single meetings that we're gonna have with Robert, activities that we're gonna be sending throughout email and WhatsApp. And hopefully you're doing really well, taking care, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye
Chao,
bye.
pessoal.
También.
Take care. Thank you all.
¿Puedes
Gracias.
compartir el link? Estaría buenísimo en el chat.
Gracias, Thor.